Going the distance. I don't know about y'all, but those who have already decided and recognize that in themselves, if you going the distance, no resistance, no chaos, no drama in yourself or nobody else. That's gonna be important. That's gonna be important. And how we feel, emotions, energy and motion, known as emotions, feelings, will be the indicator on our dashboard. You hear me? You don't listen, you're gonna miss it. I say that because we can't forget, regardless of what happened, regardless of what show up, regardless of what we think we be going through, regardless of if we be feeling like it's bigger than us sometimes, regardless if we feel like all we've been doing is fighting all our lives, and most of us have. I get it. We can't forget that we get to pick and choose. You hear me? I wore this shirt for a reason, because though I try to be an inspiration, I don't try to do nothing. Though in my attempts to inspire others, although in my attempts to motivate others, and share insights that provide enlightenment to those who see their experiences through the things that I share, according to experiences that I have had and or witnessed. That's a beautiful thing, especially in a time where things are challenging, let's say that, for the most part. But we can't forget that we get to pick and choose. As I was saying, I wore this shirt for a reason, because I have to remind myself that love is not only the highest frequency that we know, love is going to have to be the highest frequency that we choose to be in. So I wore this shirt to remind myself that love is the highest frequency that I am. And I use this phrase, and have used this phrase as a mantra in my life a lot of times in a lot of situations. Way before I had the self-control that I have now. Way before I had the self-patience that I have now. Way before I had the self-tolerance that I have now. Way that I had the patience for others that I have now. The tolerance that I have for others. So forth and so on. If for those who listening, you realizing that and what I'm sharing, it works both ways. But we can't forget that we get to choose. You hear me? And the higher we choose, the better we able to process whatever the situation may be. The better we're able to move through whatever the situation may be. You hear me? And the better we're able to stay strengthened through whatever the situation is. We in a time like never before, where it's clearly seen, regardless, it's clearly seen how much that the world is full of insecurity, because we all going through different things, to bring us into the fullness of ourselves. But I don't know what that may mean to you, or if it means anything at all to you. But what it speaks to me is, as I was speaking to earlier, we can't forget that we get to pick and choose. And if we get to pick and choose, that means regardless of what we're going through, regardless of the temptation, regardless of whatever you may phrase the experience is as. If you know who you are, if you know who you are and not what somebody else told you, then I'll say this: God can't be tempted. So the question comes, who are you? Because it's time that we make up our mind. See, what that say to me is, I have a responsibility. And knowing who I am, it gives me a responsibility, concerning who I am. And knowing who I am, that gives me accountability concerning who I am. Who are you? What that says is we're responsible for the overall and total affair of our well-being, not nobody else. Not nobody else. In every area of our lives. And the beauty about all what I'm sharing is that some of us are enhanced in places that others are not. And in the places that we are not enhanced, others are enhanced in those places. So from that space, each one has something to offer another. Each one can teach one. Each one can share something. Now, whether we do that or not, it's totally up to each and every one of us. You hear me? But it's an honor to be here as an individual, as well as a collective, speaking to individuals, as well as the collective. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. But regardless of what happens, how we perceive what's happening will determine how we affect it by what's occurring, or if we affect it at all. Stand firm in your convictions and be solid in your foundation. In other words, stand on all 10. You hear me? Don't forget that you get to pick and choose. You can't forget that we get to pick and choose. We going the distance. You hear me? We going the distance. And to go the distance, the path of least resistance will allow us to advance more smoothly. The path of least resistance will allow us to upgrade more smoothly. The path of least resistance will allow us to integrate more smoothly. If you're growing, if you're growing, if you're elevating, if you're upgrading in your energy and your vibration and your frequency, it ain't like it was. If you're ascending timelines, it ain't like it was. And what you just had to deal with. If you're ascending timelines, it's gonna be different characters than what you used to deal with. You hear me? Yeah, it ain't the same. It's on another level. So we're gonna have. I'm gonna repeat. We're gonna need to stand firm in our convictions and solid in our foundation. You hear me? And stay consistent in how we stand on it. Your sun only go down if you let it down. In other words, or another way to say that is, keep your inner child lit. You hear me? We're going the distance. And as I said earlier, it's an honor to be here. I'm on the front line. I could have stood on the sideline, but I'd rather be on the front line. You hear me? Being of assistance in ways that I wish I would have had that assistance, you know, to the point that I had to glean game. I had to steal game wherever I could get it at, you know. So that means I had to be paying attention to everything that was occurring up until I was able to express how I'm seeing it. You hear me? And we do that whether we choose to or not. But those of us who have chose to do it, it shows in our actions with ourselves, in our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with others. You hear me? If you know, you know. That's gonna conclude the message for today. I need to get some nutrition. Feel good for no reason at all. You hear me? If you pass it by, subscribe to the channel. It's simple as that, you know. I'm thinking we still in raffle mode, but I'll crank it back up when I'm ready to. Other than that, man, y'all be safe, stay encouraged. You hear me? Command change in your life. I love y'all. Love is the higher frequency. You are. Be that.